Thank you notes are just a polite way to show your gratitude to the employer, but it's also a chance to put in a few bits of information from the interview, such as maybe there's a highlight that you wanted to focus on. So you can put that in a thank you note. But you can also write specific details about other things that happen, either something funny, maybe something you shared in the interview, you're both alumni of some college or some other sports team, things like that. And the final thing you can do in a thank you note and why it's important is, again, you end it with saying, I'm very interested in this job and I want this job and I look forward to hearing from you again. That just tells the employer, even though they might have know it from the interview, that you are still interested in the job, and it's a great way to follow up and keep your name sort of the top of the pile as the employer is going through and making final decisions about who to hire. You should send thank you notes to everyone that interviewed with you. Not necessarily people you just met in the hallway or the receptionist or things like that, but the key people that interviewed you during that day you were there. And you want to focus on their names, their titles, correct spelling. I can't tell you how many times someone has said, oh, I wish I could pull that email back because I just sent it and it had the company name wrong or had the person's name wrong. So double, triple, quadruple check before you hit send or before you mail it. The other thing you want to do, if you are sending thank you notes to multiple people, let's say you interview with 4 people, you don't want to send the exact same thank you note to all 4 people, because 9 times out of 10, they're going to compare notes and say, wait, this is written, the same one is written to me. So you want to have the basic foundation to be the same, but you want to try to pull a different anecdote or different strength to highlight in each of the different thank you notes. But if you can do that to each person you interviewed, they're going to remember you, and it's just another way to just give you a little bit of edge in the job search. The key to a strong thank you note is 1, personalization, 2, content that reinforces you as a good fit for the job and your continued interest and enthusiasm for the job, and then concludes with a thank you again to reinforce that you appreciate their time, you value their time, and then a little note about, I look forward to hearing from you again and I'll follow up in the near future. And that little thing, the little ending with I'll follow up in the future is just sort of, if I'm the hiring manager, it gives me a little, okay, let's see if that he or she does follow up. And then you need, of course, you need to follow up maybe a week later saying, just checking in with the job search. But those are the keys. The best time to send a thank you note is while it's still on your mind and still on the employer's mind. And there's a lot of discussion both among career people and among job seekers. Well, what's better? Should I just do an email? Should I do a text if I have their cell phone number? Should I do a traditional, put it in a postal and send it off in the mail? And my view is immediacy is important. So I would definitely do an email thank you note. And what I typically say is do a short email version, because emails should be short anyway. But then if you really want that job, I would do a handwritten or typed one that you put in the mail. It's another way to follow up, because now it's going to be 3 or 4 days later by the time it gets there in the mail. It's just another little thing that brings you up to the top of the list. Think of follow-up a little bit like the squeaky wheel, that old saying, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. That if you follow up professionally on a regular basis, you're keeping your name in front of the employer, and that's keeping you active, engaged, and showing your enthusiasm, and that's going to give you an advantage at some point down the road. So keep at it, don't be afraid of it, just don't be overly aggressive about it. Unless you're in sales, do it at most once a week. Even if the employer says, we're deciding tomorrow, we're deciding next week, we're deciding 6 months from now, just keep regular contact with them and just keep believing in yourself. I know it's sometimes hard to do that, and follow-up is kind of a weird situation. I don't want to bother the person, but employers see that as passion as long as you're